We're coming to you live this afternoon from Hyde Park, this being in Johannesburg. This is the second venue or the second leg of the compliance blitz that is coming through from the Department of Employment and Labour. They started at Rosebank Hotel, the Southern Sun in Rosebank. This is where we saw that hailstorm damage on Monday. So the link we are hearing this afternoon in Zinga that what they're trying to do is to ensure that there's compliance to issues of occupational health and safety standards, for instance, sparked by what happened on Monday. So we see the Inspector General just moving into these facilities with inspectors from the department and just interacting with some of the role players within Southern Sun and some of the leaders here, operational managers and the likes, to just give them a sense of how far or what they're doing in terms of ensuring that they adhere to the country's labor laws. So what we're hearing from the department as well is that this particular group, the Southern Sun group, remains very important when you look at the value chain, the economic value chain, which is why then as we're inching towards the festive season, there's definitely going to be a boom here where you see a lot of people visiting some of these facilities. Hence, they decided to take it upon themselves to embark on this blitz with the Inspector General. And Zinga, I'm going to bring her into the conversation right now. I pulled her out of a meeting where she was getting an update from the inspectors spread out, and we're seeing that you've moved now from a Rosebank into a Hyde Park, a Southern Sun, and you're continuing with this blitz this afternoon as you try to track compliance. Maybe just remind us of why do we find ourselves here? Why are we seeing you, embark on these premises of Southern Sun? Welcome to the SABC.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Like you said in your introduction, it was triggered by the incident that happened in Rosebank, Southern Sun. And proactively, we decided that let's rather look into the whole suite of Southern Suns, and we're looking into compliance with all our labor laws as far as that is concerned, because we'd like to see compliance, particularly in the space of occupational health and safety, because non-compliance with that has got very serious ramifications, particularly to human life. So we cannot take that for granted, and we can't overemphasize the importance of us testing the degree to which such laws are complied with. In a nutshell. So basically, that is what we're doing.
There were also damages at Mall of Africa. Do you find your inspectors there as well in terms of what comes out of this hailstorm, or you're just targeting a Southern Sun throughout the country when you look at issues of occupational health and safety standards here?
Yeah, we saw what happened at the Mall of Africa. But the thing is, you've got to direct your resources where there had been some kind of damage, a bit extensive, and you could see that there was a collapse and there were some injuries that people got, and therefore we put emphasis. And like we are saying, we're moving into a very important period for all of us. And Southern Sun, like all other hotels, have got a very important role to play, in particular when it comes to tourism and making sure that our economy takes the right footage and it grows. So they've got a contribution to make in that regard. So that is why we decided that for today in particular, we're just going to be focusing on this particular sector.
Let us in on really what you are getting as we speak right now, because you started in the morning and we saw you moving and going into that building that was more or less damaged by the hailstorm, and speaking to some of the role players there in terms of issues of occupational health, safety, and the adherence to labor laws. What are they telling you?
So far, I'm pleased to observe the level of coordination, and also the level of participation, and the level of willingness to work with the Department of Employment and Labour. We always say we are willing to work with employers that are willing to work with us. We certainly are not looking for perfection. However, we are looking for institutions that are going to make some serious strides to ensure that they comply with all our laws. And I'm getting reports from various parts of the country that the blitz is going on well, and there is some kind of coordination that is going on, and we're pleased with the progress thus far. And we from it, part of what we do also is to advocate for our laws. So we don't just want to be seen as people that will approach with a stick in their hand. So we also talk about the value add of our laws that it pays to comply with our laws. You save in kind, you save in resources, and you also save lives, and you are likely also to add value to your workforce, and the productivity levels are likely also to be increased. When you have a happy workforce, your productivity levels are also likely to go high. Yeah.
I know that the issue of occupational health and safety is but one of the laws that you're looking into. You're going to be going into issues of the UIF and the likes. Maybe let us in on some of those issues that you'll be going into as to sift through the books of these hotels.
Yes. Yeah. We're looking into basic conditions of employment together with national minimum wage. As you know, the two in particular look at the standards of employment. Every person that is a worker in this country has got a right to certain minimum standards. For example, they've got a right to have an employment contract, which in no uncertain terms spells out what is it that they're employed to do, and what is it that they're going to be getting, and also what do they have as privileges and rights, your leaves and so on and so forth. And also when you look into the Unemployment Insurance Act, every worker that if you work for 20 hours or more, you've got to be registered with the unemployment insurance, so that in instances where something happens, either you lose your work momentarily for whatever reason, there are categories, maybe you get ill or you get retrenched, then you know that at least you can go and tap into the UI and get some money whilst you are out of employment. We're also looking into the COID Act, Compensation of Injuries and Diseases Act, for every worker that contracts a disease or are subjected to an injury whilst they're at the workplace. They've got a right to be covered by the COID, the compensation fund. So that whole host and basket of our legislation we're looking into. And the message is one: comply. The Department of Employment and Labour is here to work for you and to work with you. And there are benefits in complying.
And just before I let you go briefly, IG, just let us in on really the penalties that would follow if indeed you find that a company like this is not compliant to some of the country's labour laws. What would be some of those penalties? Yeah,
we start off with notices. So if we pick up that there's non-compliance, we issue out notices. Our notices have got a lifespan of from 14 to 60 days. So you've got a chance, we give you a chance to comply. And if you comply, we are happy, you are happy. But if you're going to ignore our notices and they expire, then you take the next step. We refer you to law prosecution agencies. For instance, we work with the magistrate courts and then NPA in the space of occupational health and safety. We work with the CCMA, also the Labour Court. So, like I'm saying, let's just develop a culture of compliance. There's no need for us to drag each other into court of laws when we can simply comply. And the Department of Labour and Employment is here to help you to do just that.
Inspector General, thank you very much for your time coming through to just give us a sense of the blitz and what they're doing here at Southern Sun Hotels today. As we speak right now in Zinga, we have inspectors spread out throughout the country from the department as they try to track compliance. We moved from Rosebank into Hyde Park. We're hearing as well that the Inspector General will be moving into Sandton as well. They're trying by all means to ensure that the country's labour laws are adhered to, and an example to other businesses as well, where the Department of Employment and Labour's role is concerned here.